Hello, Sagittarians. Welcome to Souls Intersect. This is your annual 2017 Intuitive Tarot reading. So, this spread handles the 4 quarters of the year. There are 2 cards for each quarter. So, the 2 cards at the top are the first quarter of the year, and then it moves clockwise to cover the rest of the year. In the center is a card that represents a general theme throughout the year. I'll start with that card. I'll probably also come back to it because a lot of times it's something that plays into the reading in other ways, plays into the different quarters of the year and whatever events I may pick up on there. So it is a general reading, and also, although it is broken down into these 4 quarters, it could be for some of you that some of these things might take place at other times, especially since it is general. All right, so starting at the center is the 7 of Wands. One of the main things that comes up for me with that card usually is boundaries. And the energy that I'm getting for this reading is that for a lot of you, this could be a recurring event. It feels like it's relating to a person. So it could be someone who's in your life now, will continue to be, or it could be someone who's in and out of your life, but it feels like there is a need for either there's a need for boundaries, or it's already something that you've been putting into practice, trying to figure out the best way to manage things with this person. It does feel like there's a strong level of intensity. I'm picking up on that fiery energy of the Wands element, the fire. And I do sense a strong connection. So it could be that it's so powerful that it's difficult to handle in terms of managing how fast things move, how much time to spend together, things like that. What areas of your life to let this person into. It could also be that there's boundaries needed for a shared creative endeavor, something along those lines. And the final thing with that general theme is that it could be in relation to spiritual activities and learning to, first of all, balance that with your everyday life, but also even developing boundaries with your guides, with your spirit guides, and how better to employ that in your everyday life, your communication with your guidance, for example. So that's going to be for some of you. Okay, so starting at the top is the Star and the 2 of Cups. Really 2 beautiful cards coming together. It could definitely be that for some of you in the first quarter, so January, February, March, meet a soulmate. That's the most general theme here. It could be that you are already in a partnership with someone that you feel really connected to emotionally. And if that's the case, it does feel like January, February, and March are a really good time for the 2 of you. And playing into that 7 of Wands, it could be that it just gives me the sense that things are really driving well between you two, that in terms of boundaries, things are going really well. In terms of, it feels like how you see each other, how you respect each other, ability to recognize each other's strengths and weaknesses, and really managing those things. That's for an established relationship. But again, I do feel like some of you may be meeting someone, and it could be that this person's already been in your life for some of you, and then there's this realization that this person is a soulmate, or at least is a very strong connection for you that's worth exploring. So really beautiful time for romantic energy for Sagittarians in January, February, March, around that time. Let me see if I get anything else about that. If it is brand new, I would definitely recommend pacing yourself, though, because we do have that 7 of Wands again. Okay. So the second quarter, April, May, June, around that time, you have 2 major arcanas. They are Justice and Strength. I do get the sense that there may be something taking place, could be in relation to work or a relationship, but waiting for an outcome of something and that testing your patience. It does feel like it could be something that is pretty emotional for you, whatever waiting for that outcome is. So it could be that you've applied for a job or a promotion, or have been tested in some way, or are waiting for someone that you love or care about to hear about something maybe that they've applied for or something like that. It could be in relation to something medical, or it could be in relation to a court case, waiting for the outcome of that. And it does feel like it tests your strength. So, we don't have, a 5 of Cups or any kind of conflict or emotional hurt here. So that's really good. It does feel like it tests your strength, but the fact that strength comes up tells me that you will be able to employ that. They're both major arcana, so I do feel like this is a major turning point for something. I'm getting, again, for a lot of you, it's going to be in relation to someone else. Someone you care about, but you're very invested in it, so you're waiting for the outcome, with almost as much care as that person is, because of how much you care and because it also affects you. And it being still a major turning point. So whatever the outcome of that is going to impact your life. Could be at the logistical level, but even karmically, it feels like to me it's a major turning point. I'm picking up on some specifics for this. So if it is another person, it could be waiting for that person to, maybe you've been apart. Maybe it's a romantic interest and you've been apart and you're waiting to hear about them getting a visa or a change of status in some way so that you can be together. And in that case, it feels like it's been a pretty long trial and it's been testing your strength for a long time. But whatever the outcome is going to be a major turning point. So that's something that I'm getting. But I definitely pick up on it being related to work for some of you too. Probably something in relation to moving to a different level or gaining recognition for something. And the strength there, where I'm seeing the strength play into that, is being recognized for your abilities and kind of finally proving yourself to someone on some level. With that 7 of Wands, and there's this whole theme energetically of something that's been pending or taking some time. That's just an intuitive message I'm getting. So with the 7 of Wands, with that, I get the strength. That's interesting. I get the sense that there has been someone who, I don't want to say they've been doubting you. It does feel work related. Not necessarily doubt, but questioning maybe. Not because you have shown that you can't do something, but maybe they just haven't had enough interaction with you to really know what your skills fully are or something like that. And something taking place that really helps you prove that to them once and for all. And then they're in your corner for good and a really strong supporter of you. So this is that you can see how that would be a major turning point for you. That feels like it's speaking to someone who's on a career path that they consider, their dream job, or if not that dramatic, just at least on your way to that. You're in the type of work that feels like your mission. It feels like what you're really drawn to and what you want to be doing, even if it's not quite at the level that you want to be at or at the place you want to be at. But this, whatever takes place there, is going to help you continue on that path and get to a better point with it. Okay. Third quarter, 9 of Pentacles and 5 of Wands. So with this 5 of Wands and the 7 of Wands together here, this is where I'm sensing a little bit of conflict now, having to do with boundaries. This could be playing off of the 2 cards at the top, so the 2 of Cups and the Star. Could be in relation to that relationship. The 9 of Pentacles coming through makes me feel like you might feel at this point that you want a little bit more freedom or independence. If it is, a soulmate or this really strong connection that you meet and connect with, it might just be that it's been a lot of fiery passion and a strong pull, and then maybe some arguments beginning around this time. And I say that because of the Five of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles being about that sense of independence and you wanting to embrace that more at that time. I will say though, there's nothing here about breaking anything off, or again, there isn't really anything about emotional upset or anything like that. Maybe a little bit of conflict. It feels like it could be arguments, but it feels very impassioned. It feels like the kind of argument that comes from that strong sense of passion, because it does feel like a strong spiritual connection and so a strong emotional and sexual connection. So it just seems like you might want a little bit of space. And it could also be in relation to whatever happens in that second quarter in having to do with work that might make you feel like you need some space to focus on that. So maybe you've gotten the go-ahead to begin some kind of project or endeavor, or even if it's just getting that recognition, maybe it's empowered you a bit or a lot, and is making you want to begin something new or get a head start, it feels like, on whatever that recognition empowers you to do, getting a head start on moving forward with the next step of that, it feels like. So I do sense that there is a person, at the very least, in and out of your life during this year, but that at this point in time, you may be seeking that space. And in the fourth quarter, two more major arcana. So you have at least one in three of the different quarters, and then in two of the quarters, they're both major arcana cards. So really big stuff happening for you this year, Sagittarians. The World and the Empress. I would definitely say for some of you that the pregnancy thing comes up, and that's because, not just because of the Empress card being the mother, but the World being about cycles and cyclical things. So it could be a time that you give birth for some of you, or it could be a really good time to get pregnant, like a very fertile time for you. But then, of course, the figurative interpretation of that is that it's a very fertile time in general. So for work, for socializing, even for romance, I get the sense that you'll have so much support and energy to embrace all of your gifts and balance them and make your gifts work together and cooperate in ways that you haven't been able to do before. Being directly across from that justice and strength, I also feel like this could relate to, especially if it's about work, it could relate to whatever that shift was in the second quarter, coming to fruition in the fourth quarter. So it does feel like a new beginning in a lot of ways. Either it's very fertile, or it's that birthing sense where it's a brand new life is breathed into something. So definitely strong messages about work, where whatever you got the go ahead for in the second quarter begins in that fourth quarter or culminates in some way, and in a very beautiful way. I can't even quite put into words how strong the energy is there for you to create and enjoy what you're creating and make it work in ways that you didn't even know that you could. And again, I can't quite put it into words, but it's just like you see the four elements balanced in that Earth card, in the World card, I mean. And the Empress can be very much about all of the gifts and wielding all of these gifts. Those two cards together have such a beautiful energy. So it's not just like, you have these gifts and they're working for you. It's also that they, again, cooperate, balance in a way that they haven't before. Just work together to create in ways that you never could have imagined. That's really the only way I can put it into words, but amazing energy there together. So that's going to be October, November, December. With the Seven of Wands, and one thing is that it feels like it's almost the final step of proving yourself. I feel like that gets done in the second quarter, if that does resonate for you. There's that one person, I feel like, and so in the second quarter, I do feel like you prove yourself to them, but something about that fourth quarter, it's almost like just this one extra step that not only proves yourself to them, but takes it to another level, like proves that you're a head and shoulders above the rest. And it just locks it in for you even more. Very, very strong related to work. So coming back to the Seven of Wands in general, I think with so many big shifts happening for you throughout this year, I mean, this could be like a major turning point for both work and love. That's kind of what I'm getting from this reading. A really important thing with the Seven of Wands here is there's a sense of this idea of time management, boundaries, pacing yourself, but also keeping the flames stoked, like making sure that the fire continues to burn evenly to get you through all of this, because there's so many big things happening. And you're a fire sign, so you have all that fire in you to do that. You just may need to develop some new methods of being able to keep that fire burning evenly. That's what it feels like to me. All right, Sagittarians, great reading for you. Happy New Year, and if you have any questions about this or about my services, feel free to email me at soulsintersect@gmail.com. Thank you.